What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? It is your boy 2Pro Gaming, or Joe here, and I'm sorry about the red eyes and shit. Just started walking and got sick. I don't even know. Don't fucking care. Anyways, I'm just back at y'all with another video today, and this one's gonna be a review, a movie review, and it's gonna be a movie review on the movie Crawl. It's in a movie word too many times, but yes, it's gonna be on the movie Crawl, and I just want to say this movie really deserves what it got, and it deserved more hype and more notice and attention than what it got. Sam Raimi is a fucking god when it comes to like supernatural horror movies and like monster movies, I suppose, like The Evil Dead, for instance. That was a great ass movie. But yeah, I'm just gonna come at y'all with this, and I just want to say spoilers are gonna be included. But let's just get right into it. It starts out with this girl named Heather, the main character, and she goes to the University of Florida for swimming, which is kind of ironic because my favorite school is the University of Florida. Other than that, she's a swimming athlete, and her dad trains her, but they don't talk for a long ass time. He only talks to her sister and shit. And yeah, there's this Category 5 hurricane going on in a few hours and shit. So she goes to the house to find him. He ain't there. She calls his phone multiple times, and he doesn't pick up. So she goes to their old house, which isn't left in escrow, and she finds him down in the crawl space, all bitten up and shit, like a big gash right here, torn out. His leg has his bone popped out and shit, bloody as fuck. And she goes to pull him out, like up the stairs to get him out of the house, and as soon as she goes out of the basement stairs, and the gator just pops right the fuck out, starts chasing them. And I think y'all are gonna know why it's called Crawl. It's because they're locked in a crawl space half the movie. And anyways, she goes to call her sister Beth, and she gets the phone, and she has to run because the gator bit her leg pretty bad, and she had to crawl away. And the gator crushes the phone, so there's no way of getting out. And at this point, the whole basement's starting to flood. And just skip forward 30 minutes into the movie, because nothing really happens besides them getting chased and shit. Nothing really happening other than that. I would have explained it, but it's just them getting chased and shit. But just skip forward 30 minutes in the movie, they are finally finding out that things ain't what they seem, and they look out and they see people in the middle of the flooded waters robbing an ATM machine for the fuck's sakes of getting money. And yeah, they try to signal them for help with their fucking rechargeable flashlight, those ones with the little crank on the side. And they go to crank it and get help, and let's just say the help didn't come fast enough. The woman, there's three of them. One woman got left on the boat with the ATM machine by herself, which ended up getting mauled by the gator pretty quick without anybody noticing. The other dude who went to check out the problem, or to go see if they actually needed help, ended up getting killed, drug under. Then the brother inside the store, who didn't think to fucking leave before the hurricane came, and let's just say 30 gators decided to chow down on that bitch. And then there's this guy named Wayne. I should have brought him up sooner. It's Beth's ex-boyfriend, I think. Yeah, it's Beth's ex-boyfriend. He comes to the house later in the movie to try to help him. Let's just say he gets mauled to death. It was horrible. Man gets his waist bitten down, pulled under down to the basement. He gets his head bit so hard. And fucking Heather tried to save him and shit, but it didn't come fast enough. So the dad and Heather had a plan. The dad would bust on the pipes because the gators didn't like it. So he would pound on the pipes with a cardboard and a brick or something to get their attention, while she super swam her ass all the way up to the stairs to try to get out through a security hatch, which ended up being blocked by a fucking stand. And yeah, she couldn't get out, so they were trapped down there. And the only other way out was where all the gators were coming in through the storm drain into their bottom. And so she swims over there. Ends up being gator eggs and shit, and a baby gator crawling out. So they're super feral because like their fucking eggs are there, and she decides to swim through the drain and get out into the mainland, which she does end up getting to the mainland. And like after being chased by like 2 to 3 gators though, she ends up getting on land, getting out. Her dad ends up drowning at this point a little bit, so she starts pounding through the floorboards, pulling him out. Ends up, or like fucking giving him mouth to mouth. Ends up somehow saving him after like 2 to 3 minutes of him being just laying there and her crying. But yeah, that's like, or so like there's that point. Then after that, she starts like trying to like find a way of like getting out. The dad comes up with an ingenious plan of going to where their boat was to get out of there. So gators at this point, because of the rain, can't hear them walking through the water, so they have to walk through the water. If they start splashing and shit, they're gonna get caught. But yeah, the dad ends up breaking his own rules and shit, and ends up telling her to swim as fast as she can to the boat and get on. She almost gets killed. Ends up getting on the boat though, thank God. And like after that, like I want to say, like she drives over to her dad, pulls him on board with Sugar, which is their dog, and they end up somehow the hurricane ends up flooding them so quickly, because at this point in the movie the hurricane hit and water's everywhere, flooding the whole neighborhood, covering 3-story houses at this point. And yeah, like I can't like understand how they ended up back in their house after they got on the boat. They ended up in their house again. At this point, the dad she finds a radio or a walkie-talkie, ends up signaling for somebody, but nobody came. And she ended up finding flares too, which are important to the ending. And the dad tries to get up the stairs, but his dog's down there, so he goes to save the dog, gets him up there, but ends up getting his arm ripped off. And he ends up putting a tourniquet on it with his old shirt and shit, or tightening it as tight as he can. And Heather ends up getting up there too. And at this point, the house is completely filled to the top, so they have to swim out and get on top of the roof. Which is when I thought, like, when Heather was signaling, I was stuttering there, goddamn, but she was signaling for the helicopter, which is the security chopper, to come pick him up with the flare. She was standing up. I thought for sure that bitch was dead, but they get their attention, and she ends up looking at her dad, and that was the end of the movie. Like literally nothing else. Like they got chased by gators, which were amazing. And it wasn't CGI either. Like, it was, but, like, it was some good-ass CGI. It's not a Lake Placid sci-fi original fucking shit CGI. This was some good CGI. And the storm was very much a threat throughout the whole movie, which I loved, because they had to worry about that as much as the gators, too. Because if they didn't get out of that crawl space, it would have flooded them to death, and they would have drowned. So, much as a threat for them than the gators, too, so it's also pretty good. And I just want to say, like, the ending of the movie, I mean, a kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. I mean, you don't know what happened to him afterwards. No, not much story development throughout the movie for the characters, besides, like, a few heartfelt moments with the dad and his daughter. Other than that, like, it just wasn't much character development, and that's just kind of sad, because this movie was amazing. Like, I can't stress it enough, for a 90-minute horror movie. Amazing. I mean, y'all should watch it in its entirety for sure. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know if you've seen it, what you thought. And yeah, guys, I love y'all, and that's gonna be it. Peace out till next time.